Yo, we're going to be breaking down the Dana White Contender Series Week 9, and just make sure to comment, like, subscribe. We've did decent last week. We hit all of our bets that I gave you guys, the Dana White Contender Series parlay, the prop of the week, the parlay of the week for UFC 241, but wish I would have done a little bit better on the overall predictions that I got right on 241, but you know, there was a few decisions in there that were very close, and it was overall like really fun night of fights. But with the first fight of the night here for the Contender Series, Ricky Steele against Phil Caracappa, two unbeaten guys, and you know, Ricky Steele, he's 5-0, and he's been some decent competition. He's actually coming off of a win on the Ultimate Fighter where he beat Suman Mokhtarian, and he had to recover from a broken foot, and I think he had a concussion also, so he wasn't able to continue on the show, and he hasn't fought since then. It's been a year and a half, so he's taken a bit of a layoff here. But he's going to be getting brought in to fight Phil Caracappa, who's 8-0. He's the Ring of Combat Bantamweight champion. And he's defended the belt 3 times to earn his opportunity here. And for Caracappa, he's a decent striker, okay boxing, kicks. But I feel like he's too flat-footed to strike with Steele here. I think he's going to come up short with a lot of his shots, really struggle to get past the kicks. He needs to kind of throw caution to the wind a bit on the feet. He has to close distance aggressively, try to backsteel towards the cage, land a bomb. He should look for leg kicks, but I'm really not sure he's going to be able to find his range with the kicks. And he should try to back him up towards the cage and wrestle here. He is a pretty good wrestler. He has decent top control. And if he can grind him out, I think that that's potentially a way to win for him. But I think this is a tough stylistic matchup for Caracappa. He is a confident champion here, but Ricky Steele, he looks like he could be a problem on the feet for a lot of guys in the division. He's long, he's blazing fast, he has great movement. He's a karate style on the feet, and he really is aided by his reach with that. He'll keep a wide stance. He can just keep opponents at kicking range very well. And excellent feints. He works well from both stances. Good jab, long straight punches, very fast hand speed. Throws a ton of kicks, front leg, side kicks to the legs, to the knees. Body, head, good round kicks. He'll throw round kicks to the head very fast with both legs, and they can be pretty hard to see coming. He'll even throw like 360 roundhouse kicks, spinning kicks. He really has practically, you know, every kick in the book. He does hold his chin, I would say, a little high, kind of like all of those karate guys, and they have their hands low, but, you know, he's always moving, and, you know, it's pretty good defense. I feel like he barely gets hit in a lot of his fights. But someone with really good boxing pressure that can cut him off maybe could potentially give him problems. But he won't get out of himself, man. He fights to his game plan. You're going to have to adjust to him. He isn't going to get emotional. He's going to do what he does. And he's actually looks good in the clinch also. He has good body locks. He could circle out and disengage when opponents try to clinch up with him. And in top position, he'll land some big elbows. he doesn't finish fights usually. He doesn't try to. He's content with winning the decision, not taking a risk, and he's a good guy to bet on. He's 5-0 with 5 unanimous decision wins. His cardio is good, and he can implement that same game plan of kicking and moving for 3 rounds. And that's what I think he's going to do here. I think he should dominate this fight. I don't see Caracappa being able to find his range, and I just see him getting picked apart with kicks. I don't think he has the footwork to cut Steele off. I don't think he's going to be able to take him down. I actually think if they grapple, Steele maybe will out grapple him. But, I mean, that's obviously to be determined here because Steele's never fought a wrestler like Phil Caracappa before. But Phil has a puncher's chance, but I think if he gets crazier, he could even get knocked out. If he doesn't, he's going to lose the decision. So he's in a rough spot here. He isn't a big puncher either. He only has 2 knockouts. The rest of his wins are by decision. He isn't really a submission threat. And Steele should win this fight here. Ricky should win. I'm pretty confident in Ricky Steele getting the W. And I'm going to say it's via decision here. And up next here, we have another fight I'm pretty confident in with Miko DeSegni taking on Mallory Martin. And this is a strawweight fight. Martin, she's a good fighter. She's experienced. She's fought in good promotions. And she's a decent striker, but in this fight, she just used her forward pressure to wrestle. I see her being able to win the striking also, but her defense isn't great. She's hittable, and it becomes, a much closer fight. She is very tough, though. She's durable. She can take punishment. She can get in a war and pull through. She can, take damage to the face, where she has her eye completely swollen shut, and she continues to just come forward. So this girl definitely is a fighter. She's never been finished. She's the only girl to go the distance with Macy Barber. And in her last 3 fights, she's finished on the ground. She has good singles, good doubles, good rear naked choke. And DeSegni, she's fighting out of Italy, but she has trained at Jackson Wink. But I was just not impressed from what I saw from her. She isn't a great athlete. She isn't a great athlete. She's stiff with the movement, but she does look to have some power in her hands. But she doesn't really have much variation. She'll throw 1-2s, jab, overhand rights. She looks to have power when she connects, but to me, her striking just isn't very good. Very obvious with her attacks, easily defendable. And when fighters put pressure on her, force her to go backwards, little to no defense. She was blitzed in a recent fight by this Brazilian chick, and she just came forward at her, spamming straight punches, and she was connected on every shot on DeSegni. She finished her off in about a minute. And DeSegni will go for takedowns, but her wrestling doesn't look very good. Definitely think Martin is the much better grappler. She does try to take the back. She has 2 rear naked choke victories. But her takedown defense looks very bad. She doesn't know how to chain wrestle. And I would just say she's flat out easy to take down. When she gets taken down also, doesn't look good off her back. She'll give her back to try to stand up. She can get grinded out. And Martin should roll on this chick, man. She should be able to take her down, take her out. Sometimes she starts slow. So let's say she gets a second round rear naked choke victory, but she should be a sizable favorite here, and she should get it done. So Mallory Martin for the win here. And up next here, Desmond Torres taking on Steve Garcia Jr. 2 bantamweights. They're both coming out of pretty good gyms. Desmond Torres, he's a Hawaiian, and he's fighting out of Team Oyama. And he's coming off a win against a 4-0 fighter in LFA, but that was most likely his best win. He hasn't fought very experienced or tough competition, and he's going to be fighting Steve Garcia Jr., who he fights out of Jackson Wink, and he's the more experienced fighter here. 27, 9-3 record. Garcia has a lot of experience fighting for big promotions. 7 fights in Bellator. He has 5-2 there, which is a pretty good record. And he's fought some notable names: Joe Warren, Ricky Tercios, Sean Bunch, Ken Moy, even a Long Cruz, who was just on the Contender series. So he's been tested, and he's coming off a first-round knockout against Andrew Whitney, who's another, tough veteran on the regional scene. It's hard to find a lot of fights for Garcia, though. He looks kind of like he's a good boxer with power, long 1-2s, powerful overhand rights, right hooks. But his left hook looks nasty. Looks like it has a lot of power. He'll land the left hook moving backwards as a counter or as a lead. And he has decent kicks also, good footwork. His takedown defense looks a little questionable. In his fight with Joe Warren, he was dominated. He couldn't get up off his back, but Warren does have top of the food chain wrestling. And, but I would say he didn't really show much off his back. He couldn't get up. He did attack with the Kimura, but, I would say that wrestling and wrestling defense, submission defense on the ground is definitely where he's not as strong. He's a good boxer, but he has lost 2 decisions, and he was submitted by rear naked choke against Alon Cruz. And for Desmond Torres, he looks like a good fighter. His distance control, movement in and out on the feet is pretty good. He'll slide in and out of range. He hits. He doesn't get hit effectively. He doesn't throw a lot of combinations. He'll stay very sharp, tactical standing. He'll throw kind of like clean counter straights, 1-2s, 1-2 leg kicks, but doesn't really throw long combinations with the hands. He does hold his lead hand low, and he has to watch out for that left hook. But he's good at stalking his opponents toward the cage. He has good entries into the clinch, good body locks, good doubles. And when he gets in top position, he has strong control. He'll get in half guard, throw big elbows. He'll look to move to the mount, take the back. He has good arm triangles. And he looks to be very good on the mat. He flows well. But he can be too aggressive and give up top position at times. He also looks good off his back, though. He'll attack triangles. He has a good butterfly guard. But he stayed calm when he gets put in bad positions as well. Like in a recent fight, I saw he got his back taken for quite a while, but eventually he was able to scramble back to top position. And Torres is one of these kids that's been growing up with the sport. He's been wanting to be in the UFC since he's 10 years old, and he blends things together well. He definitely looks like a prospect to watch. And if he can't get takedowns, this fight's going to be a lot closer. But I would say he throws more volume variety, but Garcia hits harder, and Torres is definitely a little bit hittable, so it'd be a little bit sketchy there. And he could jump into range, and if Garcia could time that counter, maybe he could knock him out. But that also helps to set up Desmond's takedowns, the way he jumps in and out. In this fight, I just think the pace of Torres will be a factor if he can implement takedowns. I think if he can wrestle, he'll make Garcia tired, and I just feel like overall, Torres, he's better, he should win. These guys have also trained together for about 6 months in the past, and that's a little wrinkle into this, so maybe one of them, has got the jump on each other in the training room. Like, we just saw Devontae Smith against Worthy, man, where, I don't know, but it looked like Worthy maybe beat Devontae Smith's ass in the training room because Devontae gave him a lot of respect, and ultimately, he paid the price for it. And, we'll see if that something like that happens here, but, Torres did say that he remembers Garcia had tough weight cuts to 35s. He has an easy weight cut to 35s. And he was saying that if he could push the grappling, push the pace, he thinks Garcia could get tired. And I think that's, a smart thing for him to do. And I'm going to say Torres via third round submission in this fight. And in this fight here, we have 2 light heavyweights. We have Marcos Brigago, who's an undefeated fighter out of Brazil. He's 11-0, and he's going to be taking on Jamal Pogues, who's 6-2. He's fighting out of former UFC fighter Joe Stevenson's gym. And unfortunately, man, I haven't been able to find much of anything on Brigago. The videos I did see are chopped up, terrible quality, and it's hard to really surmise anything from him, but from looking him up, he looks to be a BJJ practitioner, decent striking, very aggressive early. He has finished 7 fights in the first round, 6 by knockout, and he's finished all 11 of his wins. He's only been out of the first round 3 times, but he has been in the 4th round once in his career, and he looks athletic, and he starts fights off. He seems like he likes to blitz opponents with punches. He'll end combinations with kicks, get in the clinch, get the takedown. And in top position, he likes to move to mount. He'll posture up, laying ground and pound. I've also seen him, jump on arm bars, get the finish there. And I've probably only seen 5 minutes of footage on this guy, though. He hasn't really fought anyone noteworthy. The last guy he fought was 1-3. A lot of his opponents don't even have Tapology pages at all, so he's definitely fighting bottom of the barrel competition. And Jamal Pogues, I could find a little more footage on, but still a little limited here. This is definitely, the fight on the card that I would say to pass on betting wise. But Pogues has definitely fought the better competition. He's only fought 2 guys that are good, but he's fought a guy who was 9-0 in Jordan Young, and he lost by submission. And he also has a win over a fighter who was 8-0, and he has another loss against Taylor Johnson, who fought on the Contender Series, but that was their pro debuts for both of them. But Pogues' other opponents have been terrible. His last 2 wins have come over an 0-1 and 0-0 fighter. And besides the 8-0 fighter who defeated Kyle Noblet, only one of the other 5 of his 5 fighters in his pro wins have even had 1 win. Dante Harrell was 1-2. Tommy Burks was 0-1, and the other four were making their or the other three were making their pro debuts. So I mean, he is coming off a knockout win, head kick win against a guy making his pro debut in March. So that's good. But he looks to be pretty good to me. He's athletic, good forward pressure, and he has a wide stance. He'll slide in out of range, and it makes him susceptible to leg kicks a little bit. He doesn't really check them, but he throws some heavy leg kicks himself. Very snappy jab. He'll double, triple up to get into range. And good shots over the top, hooks, overhands. Looks to have some pretty good power. He's had some one-punch knockouts. But I haven't seen him throw many kicks other than leg kicks. But, obviously in his last fight he did get a head kick. I couldn't find that fight. But, he has good wrestling. He likes to use his punches to back opponents up, take them down near the fence. Good timing on singles, doubles, strong top control. He'll turk the legs, attack the head, body with punches, throw forearms, elbows. When he takes opponents down, he'll keep heavy pressure on them. His top control is good, and he was able to win round 2 versus Jordan Young by taking him down, controlling him on the floor. He's good at taking the back when opponents try to scramble after he has the legs turked as well, because it's hard to get up any other way. And he was on his way to beating Jordan Young. He was winning in the third round as well with his wrestling, but he got sloppy late in round 3, and he was armbarred from inside his guard, inside Young's guard. Pogues doesn't look really to have offensive jiu-jitsu. He just controls, uses ground and pound, top control, and he's finished all but one of his wins. He has 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He has been finished once by strikes, once by submission. And he looks to have good cardio. He's a solid fighter to me, it looks like. This is a hard fight to pick, but I'm going to pick Pogues to win by decision because I think he looks good, and I've just seen more. This is a big step up for Gago, and I just think Jamal maybe is a little bit more ready because he's fought, those 2 guys. So I'm going to go with Jamal Pogues, but not confident in this one at all. And up next here we have the main event. We have Leon Shabazyan, Edmund's brother, taking on Philip Rowe. He's fighting on a Fusion XL. And for Rowe, he's just fought off competition, man. He's beaten 0 fights with winning records. And, he's long, lanky. He's a 170er with an 83-inch reach. So that's a long reach, man. I don't know what Shabazyan's reach is. Or actually, I do. It's 77 inches, yeah. So, he's going to have a decent reach advantage here on Shabazyan. And Shabazyan is used to having a longer reach, but Rowe looks like he has nice boxing, and he looks like he has okay jiu-jitsu off his back. Good jab, hard low kicks. He'll throw a nice left hook, good front kicks to the body, but he doesn't throw a ton of combination. Good shot selection, good defense. He slips and rips well. He'll look away and throw punches. He's kind of a showman. He'll make an opponent miss. He'll shake his hips, taunt him, and then throw back. But the opponents he's faced don't look good, man. It's just hard for me to say truly how good he is, but, he looks solid against them. He will get his range and sees what his opponent's speed is like. Then he'll start to use forward pressure. He'll make opponents shoot bad takedowns. And when they do, he has a good guillotine. His wrestling doesn't look very good. Seems just kind of like to pull guard, defend on his back, and then threaten with submissions or create a scramble to stand up. He can lose rounds on bottom, but he has a good defensive guard. He trades with guys like Jacare. Rowe has finished all 6 of his wins. He was knocked out in his first pro fight, and he was decisioned in his second fight, but he hasn't lost since. And he's never won a decision. He hasn't been out of the second round since 2015. From what I could tell, I would guess he has good cardio, though, because of the pace he fights, the composure he has. He doesn't throw with big power, just likes to touch opponents, and I'm curious to see how he deals with someone who's a good jiu-jitsu player or wrestler who could take him down and control him, or someone who will pressure him on the feet. But for Leon Shabazyan, he kind of reminds me of like a poor man's Nick Diaz. He's long, he's lanky, and although, this opponent has a much longer reach, he's the guy that he usually likes to pressure opponents with long punches, boxing combos, head, body, force him to shoot. And when they do shoot, he has very dangerous submissions, a good guillotine, and very active guard. He'll attack with triangles, omoplatas, arm bars. He throws them up very quickly. He will sweep to top position, land some ground and pound, find a submission, or get it off his back. He doesn't really have the wrestling element in his game from what I've seen. Very easy to take down, and just doesn't mind being on his back. But I imagine, he's a sharper version of himself, because the last fight I could find of him was in 2015. He hasn't fought very good competition at all either, and this is going to be the first test for both fighters. This is kind of a hard fight to call, but I just don't know how much better Shabazyan now. But I feel like from what I've seen, Rowe maybe has the better stand up. His leg kicks could be difficult for Shabazyan to deal with. I feel like Rowe just doesn't have the wrestling from what I've seen to be able to defend a takedown if Leon has implemented that or if he goes for one. And my pick's going to be Leon Shabazyan via submission. I think he maybe gets beat up a little bit on the feet, gets a takedown or pulls guard and finds a submission. So I'm going to say Leon Shabazyan via late first round submission in this fight. But kind of hard to say on that one. But I do think, am kind of confident that Leon is going to find a way to win in that fight. But for the parlay of the week this week, I'm going to give you guys Ricky Steele and Mallory Martin. And the most confident pick of the week is going to be Ricky Steele here. Um, I do kind of feel like Desmond Torres is has a good chance to win as well as Leon. So those four people are the guys that I have more faith in, especially than Bergago and Jamal Pogues. So if you guys are going to do a parlay, I guess I would parlay like the whole card. I would parlay all four of those guys, and then maybe one with Pogues and one with Bergago. But yeah, so my part of the week is going to be Martin and Steele, and the most common pick of the week is Steele. And there's not going to be an event for this Saturday, so I guess I'll talk to you guys next Sunday when I put up the Dana White Contender Series video, and then the Wheelie Zhang versus Jessica Andrade fight is that weekend as well. So hopefully we can catch again on the Dana White Contender Series and have another good night here. So thanks for watching, and make sure to comment, like, subscribe.